Defense News. It's proudly sponsored by Navy Federal Credit Union. If you're a member of our nation's armed forces, the Department of Defense, or if your family is, we'd be proud to serve you too.
On this episode of Defense News Weekly, the story of an Afghan interpreter given a new start by an active duty airman. Plus, a wounded veteran turned Paralympic star and mountain climber tackles her next big challenge. She tells us all about her latest quest. And those Marine-inspired Navy uniforms you saw at the recent Navy-Air Force game? Get the inside scoop on how they were designed. With the latest news and analysis from the Pentagon to the platoon, this is Defense News Weekly. Welcome back to Defense News Weekly. I'm Andrea Scott. There's a lot to cover this week, so let's get started. First up, service members and their families across the country are feeling the sting of the hot housing market this year. But there may soon be some relief with a temporary basic allowance for housing hike. In 56 specific areas around the country, opportunities for BAH increases between 10 to 20% have been requested. According to one source, the move has been approved by DoD officials and is scheduled to take effect October 1st. And turning to Afghanistan, when the mass evacuation started out of the Kabul airport, many U.S. service members jumped up to help. For one D.C. area airman, that meant opening up her home to an Afghan family. Check it out.
I didn't personally deploy to Afghanistan. Now, my husband did. The first year of our marriage, as a matter of fact, he spent that first year in Kabul. And so we have that connection. My deployments were associated with Iraq, actually.
First, I was translator, and we were supporting the troop through the contractors. I started to start my case in 2018 as a SIV. So I submitted my document and my case was started till August 2021. So NVC is National Visa Center, which is in America. They send me an email if you wanted to join the evacuation process. We can help you without any payment. You can, tickets. You can evacuate to America from Afghanistan. I accept that, and after almost 20 days, I received another email from National Visa Center that they told me that you have to be prepared for a flight, and Qatar Airways will send you the tickets, and then you can come to the airport, Hamad Karzai or HKaya, and after that you will be in Qatar and then to Dallas Airport, the final destination. So luckily, and I was so lucky with my family, we get to the airport, and it was excited because we know the situation will be going to be worse, and it happened, and it did. After the airplane that we evacuated by, airport war collapsed. Everyone rushed to the airport. Everyone tried to get out of the country.
Saturday morning, just perusing my Facebook feed, quite honestly, I came across, I'd say, a friend of a friend, actually, and she's a military spouse. And she was asking for contributions and donations to a family like this, a refugee family from Afghanistan. And so I actually sent her a private message and I said, hey, what is going on here? How can I help? How can I get involved and sponsor a family myself? Later on Saturday afternoon, I posted a couple of, stories, I guess, on my Facebook feed, a couple other social media outlets or platforms, and it went crazy.
It was really a worse time in Afghanistan on that time, and still there are a lot of people who are back in Afghanistan and they're left behind, and I hope they can get a chance to somehow move from Afghanistan to a safe place.
Plenty of people who aren't in this area actually donated money, which has been very useful to fill in the things that we don't have for this family. And then lots of people made arrangements with me and my husband to donate all the things that we need to actually set them up in, in a new house that will get them on their way. So within about 36 hours, we pretty much had everything that a family might need to get started in a new place.
This is the first time that I that I visit America. When I landed in the U.S. in Dallas, I was like shocked. Everything was new. Everything was, the weather, the people. They are very kind for us, and they welcome us in a very good way.
We were in Afghanistan for 20 years, and we have so many Afghan nationals who have been friends to the U.S. government and friends to Americans. And so I feel like this is an opportunity for all of us to bandy together and truly help these people out who need it. I mean, this is a time they need it.
I was excited, really. I was excited about everything. This is something that really different, because we heard about these people that they are very kind, they are helping, they are eating, but we didn't see it by ourselves. But right now I see this is, amazing. They are amazing. They are lovely, they are kind, they are, they provide things or they act like a family, like more than enough in a family.
This is a way, on a very human level, that I can help some other people that are just in need. When you look at people one-on-one as people and not necessarily as a group per se, then you see the humanity of each of us. And this is a fine young family who needs a little bit of help right now in a very stressful and challenging situation.
I really appreciate their help and their kindness. I'll never forget that.
He is working feverishly to take his skills, his great English, his master's degree in finance. He wants to find work so he can take care of his family just like anybody else, right? There's no difference there. And so, I mean, all those basic things is what everybody wants, and he wants the same. And so we're happy to help set them up and hopefully give them a good start on a new, maybe a little bit of a different life here in the States.
There are a lot of opportunity for everyone in every sector that you want to start a work. Since I have degree in MBA, I hope that I can find my dream job and grow up like the way that I want. And I'm sure that I can get that on that stage. Maybe not soon, but in the future.
There are lots of opportunities to help. It doesn't have to be in any one particular way. It doesn't have to be forever. It doesn't have to be any particular thing. However you can help is going to be needed somewhere.
When we come back, the story of a wounded veteran on a mission to climb the highest mountain on each continent.
The military and defense market is constantly evolving. Stay on top of the latest news with Sightline Media Group's live events. Continue to learn, understand new tools and technologies.
We're live. You're on in 3.
Defense, government, and industry leaders come together for successful and proven engaging events. You'll gain valuable insight, get the chance to ask questions, all from the comfort of your own home or office. Sign up for our events newsletters and receive alerts for upcoming live streams.
Welcome back. For some veterans, a devastating injury is often a tough obstacle to overcome. For Marine veteran Kirsty Innes, it turned out that obstacle wasn't quite high enough. The athlete and Paralympian is chasing one of the biggest crowns in the climbing world, achieving the 7 summits, reaching the top of the highest mountain on each continent. Her most recent conquest was Denali in Alaska, which she was attempting for the second time, having turned back due to bad weather on the first attempt. Back from her successful spring climb, Innes spoke to Military Times.
So after I was medically retired from the Marine Corps, I really fell in love with snowboarding and started competing with Team USA in the Paralympic realm of border cross and bank slalom. And over time, those medals didn't mean nearly as much to me as, I needed to feel purpose, or at least like a sense of being able to give back to, a community that I was passionate about. So I retired, if you will, from competing in snowboarding. Being from Florida, I didn't know anything about what I was doing as far as mountaineering goes, but I hit the ground running with doing the 7 summits, so the highest peak on each of the 7 continents. In June of 2018, I attempted Denali for the first time. On my first attempt, I was unsuccessful, and I was pinned for 17 days at 14,000 feet. So no going up, no going down. It was, a huge lesson in everything that I was trying to do in mountaineering. It was the first mountain that I really had to turn around on, and there was a lot of realizations about what the outdoors could throw my way. It's really, really challenging to do what I do, especially on one leg and dealing with so many different variables, and to be so close and then have to turn around. It took me, a long time to shift my perspective towards failing, if you will, on that mountain. I actually, did my reattempt this past June, and I was successful. And it was unlike my first attempt, period. This time around, when I made it up there, I couldn't help but cry. Partly crying out of frustration, like, holy cow, you have to do that. Like, you had to do this all over again. Parts of it are miserable. But then, once I made it there, it was just really, really motivating, to the point where it was like, I'm not turning around again. I'm not going to do this for a third time. So, me and my team really need to put our heads together and make sure that we're going to be successful. When I'm moving, I only can use my right leg. So I take a step forward with my right side, and then I just match it with my left. Unfortunately, that also means that my stride is basically, 3 to everybody else's 1, especially on the uphill. So I just move a little bit quicker. If you have all of your limbs, for the most part, everybody's going to move the same. You're going to move at the same speed. And then there's me, who's like, running laps around people half the time. I think about all of the people that, want to be out here doing what I'm doing, and how, even if it's miserable for me in the time being, this really is setting a precedent. I don't mind doing it the hard way, as long as it opens the doors for other people to be able to figure out how to do it, maybe to do it better, faster, or stronger than I'm doing it. But at least it makes the adaptive community known in what we're doing. And again, it provides opportunities for others to be able to explore being able to be out in the mountains. There's 2 sides of it. I climb and I do all of these crazy endurance events. To prove to myself that I can do it, to really give myself the confidence that I can go forth and do anything, regardless of, these injuries or, whatever life throws at me. By doing what I'm doing, it lets others realize what they're capable of doing too. To me, just being able to push the idea that, the outdoors is for everybody, and there's so much more to the outdoors than, what we give it credit for. The outdoors is what saved my life. And if I can, bring that mentality to somebody else and say, put the phone down, put the computer away, and go outside for 30 minutes, it totally shifts your mental and emotional well-being. I've successfully done 5 of the 7 summits. I think what's really awesome about the 7 summits is every single climb is so different. With them all being on different continents, I still have yet to find 2 climbs that are the same, or at least they definitely don't teach me the same lessons. I'll put it that way. It's about leaving a legacy and being able to say, hey, this is how I did it. Let me teach you how I did it, but then also let's make it totally adaptable to you and whatever your situation is. So, I'm really grateful to be able to work with, people one-on-one, and in the mentor role. I went through bouts of, there's no place for you in the outdoors. There's no place for you on these mountains. You're too slow. But then when you actually you're successful in it, and you can really overcome those thoughts and those emotions, that's when your life changes. So that's why I keep doing it. And now I'm probably just addicted to it.
Each fall, the Defense and Security Equipment International event in London is a showcase of some of the biggest emerging tech in the industry. Defense News' Daniel Woolfolk has more.
Lots of news this week coming out of the Defense and Security Equipment International Conference in London, which is also known as DSEI. Polaris Industries unveiled its newest light tactical vehicle, the M-Razor Alpha, for the first time. The M-Razor was first introduced in 2012 and has been sold to the US military and over 50 allied forces worldwide. It's got a new chassis which provides a larger and more durable foundation, but is still transportable by a V-22 Osprey tilt rotor or a CH-47 Chinook helicopter. That's according to a Polaris executive who spoke to Defense News ahead of the conference. The vehicle can also accommodate 2,000 pounds of payload compared to the smaller M-Razor, which can accommodate up to 1,400 pounds of payload. U.S. Special Forces were the first to buy the vehicle in the spring of 2020. Another vehicle contract in the show comes from Israel Aerospace Industries, which debuted the Rex Mark II. The United Kingdom signed a deal with IAI earlier this year. The company also says it has sold the vehicle to other European countries, but hasn't released exactly which ones yet. A company representative told Defense News that Rex can perform a range of missions and offers improved maneuverability with all-wheel drive, the ability to climb obstacles, significant endurance, and a large payload capacity of 1.3 tons. The hybrid electric vehicle is capable of silent watch, meaning it can perform certain missions without running an engine. And that's it in industry news this week. When we return, we'll get tips from personal finance expert Jeanette Mack, so stay tuned.
On this edition of Money Minute, Navy Federal Credit Union personal finance expert Jeanette Mack gives us tips on how to financially prepare for a natural disaster.
Natural disasters are a part of life. We do our best to be prepared when Mother Nature strikes, gathering enough food, water, medicine for a few days to last the storm. But there are other needs you shouldn't forget, and those are the financial ones. You'll need cash, so always keep a small amount in a safe place in your home, or withdraw funds from your bank account in advance if you have the time before the storm hits. Of course, withdrawing funds means you've got to have emergency savings. It's easier to achieve if you make regular recurring transfers into this account each month. Even small amounts like $5 or $10 can help build a safety net. To be on the safe side, store your important documents like personal, financial, household, and medical information on an external drive or the cloud for easy access, or in a fire and waterproof safe. They'll be necessary when calling your insurance company, and that means having homeowners insurance. It's crucial, so it doesn't hurt to keep track of what's covered. Consult with your insurance agent. Taking these steps now will not only prepare and protect your finances in a crisis, but also give you some much-needed peace of mind.
Thanks, Jeanette. We'll see you next week. To get more of our coverage, be sure to check out our headlines online at Army, Navy, Air Force, and MarineCorpsTimes.com and DefenseNews.com. To get a list of our top stories in your inbox every weekday, subscribe to our Early Bird Brief. And make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. When we come back, those Marine-inspired Navy uniforms you saw at the recent Navy-Air Force game? Get the inside scoop on how they were designed. Next up, the uniforms for the annual inter-service football games are always a cause for conversation. Custom designed each season, they usually have a theme or commemorate an event. For its bout with the Air Force this year, the Navy chose to emulate the Marine dress uniform. With the inside scoop on all the details included, the team's equipment manager spoke to Military Times.
We're the United States Naval Academy, but about 75 or 80% of our student athletes on the football team enlist in the Marine Corps, get service select the Marine Corps after, upon graduation. And, we've always teetered with the idea, but we typically have only done special uniforms for the Army Navy game, and it is the Army Navy game. So with this one, for Navy Air Force, and the historical and remembrance of 9/11, the 9/11 attacks, the Marine Corps is part of the Naval Academy. Obviously with our former players going Marine Corps, but it was a special way for us kind of to pay homage to the first boots on the ground after the 9/11 attacks. I mean, there were Marines everywhere, so we thought it was very appropriate for this game if we were ever going to do it. It's kind of been up our sleeve for the past 7 to 9 years since we changed apparel manufacturers to Under Armour, and they've been great partners through this whole process, and we thought this was the right time for us to honor the United States Marine Corps. So we're wearing a version of the Marine Dress A uniform, which is a combination of both enlisted as well as officer Marines. We're wearing a deep navy blue top that traditionally would be black in their uniform, but it looks pretty close to black. But we wanted to mimic the uniform as much as we possibly could. The royal blue pants with the red blood stripe are incorporated in the uniform. You know, the front of the uniform says Navy with the player number. Obviously, the rear of the jersey says Semper Fi, which is the kind of battle cry of the Marine Corps, meaning always faithful. On the pants, we have the iconic Eagle, Globe, and Anchor on the left hip, I believe, as well as the left side of the wearer's left side of the helmet also has the Eagle, Globe, and Anchor. The message is, you know, like the back of the jersey says, Semper Fi, you know, be always faithful, as the Marine Corps logo, as well as, you know, on the front of the helmets. There's, you know, the other cry is Oorah, which is the battle cry of the Marine Corps. So Oorah, along with Semper Fi, two of the most infamous meanings and slogans of the Marine Corps are going to be fulfilled through this uniform. And, you know, if everybody's faithful, and, you know, if the guy on the left is faithful to the guy on the right in the Marine Corps, usually good things happen. So the hope is that everything transpires from the Marine Corps uniform onto the field. The planning stages for this uniform, we plan this 18 to 22 months out. You know, all these uniform pieces were delivered in approximately May. When it comes to Army, we've planned it 18 to 22 months out. We received all that uniform stuff in early July, and basically in my world, I got to hide it from everybody else. You know, myself and a few of my assistants, and of course, coach and our athletic director, are about the only ones that know what we're wearing on December 11th against Army. But the team will find out, you know, like I said, sometime after Thanksgiving. But the whole focus is at the Naval Academy and within our brotherhood is one game at a time, and the next game up. The helmet is my favorite part of this uniform. It's a pretty basic white helmet with a black mask, but we decorated it in such a way that, you know, the Eagle, Globe, and Anchors represent it. We made it all black parts on the outside, a white helmet to make it symbolize the Marine Corps cover, that, you know, the hat that officers and enlisted wear. So I think that's the coolest feature of it, that a lot of people may not really see or notice on television, but maybe when a guy goes to make a tackle, they'll see that kind of quatrefoil and cross coming at him.
Even with those Eagle, Globe, and Anchors coming at them, the Air Force held strong this year, defeating Navy 23-3. And that's all we have time for this week. Please visit us on militarytimes.com and defensenews.com for more coverage. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week.